Guyana yet to lift Rona restrictions. Minibus knocks down tourist on High Street. And the media and intimate partner violence. I'm Enrico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. News happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony said on Thursday that the U.S. Center for Disease Control and the World Health Organization will be conducting an in-depth analysis to ascertain if the Rona should still be considered a pandemic. So until they make a decision, we won't. Meanwhile, Barbados has lifted many of its restrictions as of this morning. Mask wearing will be optional. However, there will be exceptions for healthcare, education, public transport, and those in prisons. They've also relaxed travel restrictions, meaning that unvaccinated and vaccinated travelers will not be required to be tested for entry to Barbados. If you've been speeding down the new road on the East Bank, then you might be receiving an e-ticket within the next few weeks, as the road monitoring system is now operational on the Mandela Eccles Road. The system has already recorded some 1,500 users committing traffic violations, such as speeding and not wearing seatbelts. Pending its successful rollout, the system is expected to be expanded to many other busy areas in Guyana. According to GCOM, just 17 objections have been made to entrance on the preliminary voters list so far. As of the 21st of September, 3,016 new registrations were recorded and 1,858 transfers. This comes 1 month after it embarked on the claims and objections period in preparation for the long overdue local government elections, which, at this rate, will most likely take place early next year. This morning, another Guyanese woman was killed at the hands of her husband. Essequibo Coast resident Christine Boston was murdered by Police Sergeant Roar Francis after he repeatedly ran over her with his car before taking his own life. He died while receiving medical treatment. Last night, 53-year-old Canada-based Guyanese Vida Prakash Fadwar died after he was struck down by a minibus at High and Princess Streets in Georgetown. Fadwar was pronounced dead at the scene. Meanwhile, the driver of the bus, 30-year-old William Scott, has been served a notice of intended prosecution. Yesterday, the court ordered convicted chicken smuggler Richie Shaw to pay a fine in the amount of 4.95 million Ghana dollars, which is 3 times the value of the goods seized, or spend 1 year in prison for knowingly concealing uncustomed chicken, contrary to Section 218C of the Customs Act, Chapter 82-01. They were reportedly removed from their original Rockingham branded packaging and stuffed into black bags to be passed off as local chicken. The GRA did not provide any photos of the smuggler nor the chicken in question. Your home is your most valuable asset. So before you sign on the dotted line, call VGS Home Inspections. They are a licensed and insured home inspection company with professionals operating in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island, and Westchester County. From electrical and plumbing issues to a leaky roof. If there's a fault in the house, VGS will find it using the latest industry technology, including infrared scanners, HD drones, and more. So if you're buying or selling a home in New York, make the smart choice. Call VGS Home Inspections at 914-513-9356 and tell them Rico sent you. It might not be robbery season, but the streets are still mean. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, canine services. These people even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest, now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today. Today, chairman of Micro Business Developers and Consultancy Company, 64-year-old Clayton Allen, and his employee, 59-year-old Norbert Bailey, were charged with fraud after they allegedly robbed a woman of $1.1 million during a loan scam. They falsely claimed to be able to give the woman a $45 million loan, but according to Allen's lawyer, he did not defraud her as each loan has a 6% processing fee. However, this is the third time in the past 7 years in which Allen has been charged with fraud. So, with that in mind, he was remanded to prison until October 14th, while Bailey was released on $300,000 bail. The murder trial for Timothy McKenzie commenced on Thursday in the Demerara High Court. McKenzie is alleged to have murdered another young man, Richard Noel over an old grievance on June the 4th, 2018 at Starbuck Market. He has pleaded not guilty. Now for today's oil update. Yesterday, the Ministry of Natural Resources said that the next contractor to market Guyana's next entitlements of crude from the Starbuck block will be taking over for a period of 1 year, starting next month. The marketer's responsibilities will include making appropriate transportation arrangements and providing support to Guyana in all of the back office responsibilities related to managing crude sales. So basically, they want a firm that will not only sell our oil, but also show us how to do it ourselves. They also said that the company must support the continued introduction of the crude grade to multiple geographies and refinery systems and provide benchmark performance comparisons of prices paid for the crude. So basically, they want our crude to end up in more places than it's ever been before and into more refineries than ever before, as well as offering us the information compared to other regions where oil is also being sold. Now for our stupid news of the day. Yes, it's back. And you know what I think is stupid? How domestic violence is treated in this nation. Often it is ignored until someone dies. Then when it reaches that point, everyone is more than ready to offer the media all of the salacious details of the relationship, spanning back to the first time Harry slapped Susie donkey years ago. And speaking of the media, they should be ashamed with how they cover these things. I honestly just cannot stand how they cover intimate partner killings. It is done so callously and without regard for just how serious it is within the context of Guyana. Domestic violence is not just another crime. At this point, it is a national health crisis, and it needs to be declared as such, just as suicide was declared back then. In fact, several years ago, at the height of the suicide epidemic in Guyana, all of the media houses were asked to tone down the graphic details of the reports on suicide, for fear that such high-profile coverage inspires copycats. Things are harder than ever now in Guyana, but less people are killing themselves. Yes, I know correlation does not always equal causation, but some things are just common sense. And common sense tells me that the same rule about suicide reporting should apply here to domestic violence killings. And it should be enforced by the Press Association. But it seems like that toothless poodle of a media watchdog entity seems to only find its voice whenever the government speaks ill of them. Nevertheless, without their guidance, I made the conscious decision for Uncut News to be different, in the respect that we only offer just the bare details of the story, especially when it comes to such sensitive matters. Not because we want to keep you uninformed, but it's because I believe that making an epidemic worse by pimping it for monetary gain is pretty unethical. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's Car of the Week. Currently on sale is this 2016 Toyota Crown Athlete. It comes with Bluetooth map rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo, fog lamps, back camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $9.95 million, or pay as low as $1.99 million down with around $170,000 monthly for 5 years, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Or visit the showrooms at Lot 171 Peter Street, Queenstown, or at 2 Lamar Street, and tell them that Rico sent you for this sweet deal. Are you a truck owner? Pay close attention. Avoid lengthy downtime when your truck broke down. Get high-quality DAF, International, Freightliner, Bedford, CMO, Scamo truck parts at the lowest prices at Powered Automotive. Visit them at Lot 1161 EE Eccles, or call them on telephone number 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. Now for our Uncut News Viewers Poll Question of the Day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. Yesterday, I asked, how can we reduce the number of house fires in the nation? Dimitri V says, well, the first thing that needs to be looked at is what is the cause of these house fires, whether it be faulty electrical equipment, negligence, or someone just playing with fire. The government could put in place some standards that people should abide to, but at the end of the day, it's on the individual to be mindful of what's happening and also have their own safety precautions. Maybe make fire extinguishers more accessible. Yes, in fact, if you ask me, I think they should make fire extinguishers mandatory and just hand them out to people. Cheryl Andrews says, I feel that every house should have a fire extinguisher because we know it's the right thing to do, since depending on the fire service is very poor. Because if they do reach on time, sometimes they have no water in this land of many waters, which takes firefighting to a whole new level. And by a new level, I assume you mean a new low. RC View Farm says the GPF needs to step up, make sure all homes have smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, and teach the school children how to make sure their homes have one that is in good working order. Also, the gas bottles in the kitchens next to the stove is the most stupid thing I've ever seen in homes. This is probably why, when fire breaks out, everything burns to the ground. This practice should be stopped. Indeed, all good points. So, before we get to tonight's question, you can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now for tonight's question. Domestic violence is a serious problem in Guyana, but what should the media do to help this situation? Besides not pimping it for monetary gain. I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Check us out on Monday for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying, have a great weekend. And as always, don't drink and drive, or you'll end up on Monday's episode the hard way. Ha-ha! Good night, folks.